Hello everyone, welcome to the new episode of Professionals Unplugged. I am your host Utkarsh Shukla and let me introduce you to my guest Irina. Irina, thank you so much for accepting our invite.
Thank you, Utkarsh, for having me.
Thank you so much. So let's start with our very basic question. Can you please introduce our audience to yourself, like who you are, what work you do, anything you want us to know about you?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, my name is Irina and I'm from Russia. And now I'm a trauma-informed breathwork facilitator. And I'm also a sound healing practitioner and a hypno practitioner. So I do incorporate these three modalities in my sessions, yeah, to enhance them and to make them really effective.
Uh, That's really great. I think these are some new words that I'm hearing for the first time, like breath work, hypno coach, right? So before jumping on to them, can you please tell us a little bit more about yourself, like how you come to this path and what were the reasons for you to choose this path and the main motive behind it, like what motivated you
Mm.
to pursue this path?
Yeah, I'm super happy to share this story because like now I'm 40 and actually at the age of 40, I just got to this alignment with the occupation, which I believe is the reason why I'm here on this planet. So I'm super happy to share the story behind that. So for many years, I was working as a university professor of English in one of the top tier universities here in Moscow. And all was good, but with time, I got loads and loads of work that really started to affect my nervous system. And moreover, things got worse when I defended my thesis. So I got a scientific degree in linguistics, and with every passing year, I got more and more academic load and scientific workload. And at some point, like 10 years into the job, I realized that if I keep on going along this career ladder, if we can call it this way, I will just end up having no personal, no private life whatsoever, which I actually did not have throughout almost all this time. So it was really affecting me a great deal. And so 10 years later, I mean, being into this job, into the university job, like fast forward, I found myself in hospital for 6 months straight with severe clinical depression. And of course, this was the extreme, and before that, like my body shouted, like cried, gave me lots of signals that I should stop because basically it started, like at some point, it started crumbling apart. So everything went wrong. My stomach issues, women's health issues, and I started breaking even bones, which I had never broken anything before, but including my backbone. So I fell on the staircase and I had a fracture of my backbone. And yeah, one person told me that the backbone is all about the direction of your life, that something is wrong and you should change it. So it's like esoterics views it in this light. But even after all this signals, I kept on working in the university because it was super scary to change. And I didn't know like what to do after that. I could not do anything else apart from teaching English. So I did that job until I could not function anymore, until I could not wake up in the morning and like they had to take me to hospital finally. Yeah. So from this story, I think that there is one takeaway here, right? So the body is usually the key. So the body will always let you know uh, where you should stop, like the body or some hardships that you can encounter on the way. So if you, I don't know, if the intention is already there, if you feel that there is something wrong, but you can't change it, right? But still you send the intention up there. So this is the way the universe kind of talks to you.
Right.
right? It starts sending you through different heart shapes. It's like, it starts carving out a new version of you. It's like Pinocchio out of wood. It's painful, isn't it? But still, you have to go through that, kind of.
Yeah, I think I can totally resonate with what you are trying to say. Like most of the people in the corporate or in any job, they are just stuck in that loop where they go to work in the morning, come back at late evening or night, and then do this again and again. And that's where we started to feeling depression and other things like you have mentioned. Right. So I think that is what happened to you, but you tried to fight it out. So if you can just enlighten us on the scene, like what were the next step that you have took after in the hospital for 6 months? What were
Mm-hmm.
your takeaways?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for this question. So, I would say that the second part of my story will be like there will be two major words here. Number one is intuition, and number two is nervous system. So, this is how it worked out for me. Like, really long story short, because like my story is full of different like magical things, but given the time, I can like explain shortly. So basically, after the depression, I had to change the job. So because it was like the final sign, and I found a new one, but things do not change like miraculously when you keep on doing the same things, right? So I kept on a new job having depressive episodes, and my mind capacity even started fading. I remember I found myself in hospital and they measured my neuron activity and it was very low. And now, like looking back, I understand that it was not just because of stress or because of COVID that hit me twice, but I was still in the depressive state. Yeah, so my nervous system, it never recovered from what I experienced before. So as we know, so the pills, they do help, but to some point, but actually they only mask the symptoms. But the root cause, which is the nervous system dysregulation, and my nervous system was absolutely shattered. It was broken and it did not get restored. So it kept me sanding through the periods of depression for 3 years running until I finally decided to take a really drastic decision to change my life and to move to another country, because at that point it was a survival thing, right? So I somewhere deep down I felt that I have to slow down, I have to go to nature, to the sea. And here is a thing. So you understand that your survival depends on your decision. So the choice was obvious for me that I have to change something. I have to slow down. And it felt right. But it was not a very easy decision because I knew fully well that I had to quit my office job, which meant stability, and I had to plunge into the unknown. And I would go down like twice in my income. So twice less money is absolutely not safe. But for me, and here is maybe my encouragement to those people who are watching us, is that for me, it was a calculated trade-off. So you pay for your health, but in this way. So I had to survive. I had to repair my nervous system, and uh, I wanted to live a full-fledged life, not just to exist. So it was a calculated decision. It was a conscious choice. I was kind of trusting my intuition, trusting the universe, and hoping that it would send me along my way, along the right path. So when I found myself in Montenegro, it was my choice. So I started doing, like, I slowed down. I started doing daily yoga, daily meditation practices. And yeah, sometime later, so some magical things started happening because I started like regulating myself and I went into this alignment with my body and mind, you know.
So how did you find out like yoga and those exercises are good for you? I mean, at what point you got to know like these are the things that you need to do?
Yeah. So actually, this is the third part of my story. So when I started like listening into myself, and I started developing my intuition, and basically found out that intuition, like the third eye, is like a muscle. You can train it. You can like when you work on that on a daily basis, finally it starts work in your favor. And I started having like different visions, and people and information started coming my way. And so basically prioritizing my nervous system was like a really game changer. And well, I just, here is the thing. Well, in shamanism, there is an idea that is called remembering. So your soul, when it comes into your body, it knows why, what is the mission of yours on this planet. But we are born into a particular, matrix and a particular social conditioning that makes us feel in a particular way, do particular things, and throughout some time, or maybe throughout the whole life, we because we think too much, and because we are in this framework, in this matrix and social like things, we forget actually, and we don't hear the calling, we don't hear the voice of our soul. And when you start doing all this, when you start developing your intuition and visions and work on that, so you can never miss this feeling, because it hits you like a hammer. It comes to you in different ways. It can be through people, it can be through pictures, right? But you will never mix it up with anything else. Your heart knows which is right for you. So if you want, I can tell you like one example, like how it manifested itself for me. So when I started meditating and I plunged myself into self-hypnosis, and self-hypnosis was something that, again, came my way as a modality in a pretty miraculous way, because like I was searching, my mind was still searching, and I got some information. So I plunged and I had a vision. I had a vision of myself being on the deck of a house, like, this wooden deck, which is like a veranda of a huge house. And I was doing something there, but it looked like yoga teaching, but it was not yoga teaching. And I didn't know what to do with this vision for 2 months. But again, the intention was there. And if you give yourself some time, if you keep on practicing, if you keep on staying with yourself and with your heart, the information will come. So it came to me through like different coincidences, and people started like talking or showing me the way, of giving me contacts, and like many, many other things.
I think that is really amazing that you just mentioned like that part, that the soul is always there for a purpose, but you need to know what purpose it is. And we as a human, we got involved in so much of outer distraction, like this world and other things, that we forgot about the inner peace, right? I think that's the valid point that you just mentioned here.
Yeah, so and the thing is that, why is it called remembering? Because when it hits you, when the idea hits you, or when the vision hits you, the picture, and your mind and your heart, it's like, yes, yeah, there's something that I do remember. So your soul starts remembering why it came here for. And when it is aligned, yes, when this vision is aligned with your like mission here, the path is like clear, or it gets clear pretty quickly. So this is how I got the information about the training on Bali. And this is how I found myself on the deck of a huge wooden house, being trained and giving then some sessions like in return. So this is how the picture, actually the dots got connected, but like in 4 months after the vision.
That's really great. So, how you learn about hypno coaching, and can you just enlighten us more about it? Like, what is hypno coaching? You mean by
Uh, yeah, of course, because, well, I did my breathwork training, and I started doing breathwork sessions, and I really enjoyed that. But I also had a feeling that I can enhance the sessions, because I hope that we will talk about breathwork like in
yeah,
detail. But in breathwork, you have access, you get access to the subconscious mind because you shut down your neocortex, your prefrontal cortex. So you get access to different memories and your subconscious mind comes to play. And on this level, you can basically, with the right facilitator, and so with the person who can upload, who can download into your mind some new ideas about yourself, which can be supportive, not destroying. So this is how it works. That's why I started going into hypnotherapy. And I just combined two modalities together.
That's great. And about breath work, like you just mentioned a small detail about it. If you can just tell us more about it, like how it works, why it is important.
Well, yeah, so breath work is, yeah, it's a huge story, but okay, sure, I will talk about that. Mm.
Yeah, sure.
So, speaking about breathwork as a modality, so we generally mean conscious, connected type of breathing through the nose or through the mouth. And roughly, it falls into two categories. So, number one is breathwork as a means of nervous system regulation. And number two, breathwork as a means of accessing your memories, your traumatic experiences, and finishing the cycle of trauma. So, which one would you like me to talk about more? Maybe to start explaining
I think it will be better to know both if you can just
both.
brief about them.
Yeah, yes, of course. So let's start with the first one. So breathwork as a means of nervous system regulation is usually a lighter way of connected breathing. Connected means that there is no pause between inhalation and exhalation, right? And it's lighter, I say, because you breathe through the nose and you don't go into hyperventilated, over-oxygenated state. Of course, it's controlled hyperventilation, but still, it's like pretty much of a load on your body, of a workload. So when you breathe like a baby, actually, that's why people call it, no, people, it's called rebirthing, like nose, nose. It's like a newborn type of breathing. So you don't change much of the blood chemistry. You don't over-oxygenate yourself, and there is no extra loss of CO2 as compared to mouth-mouth breathing, right? So, of course, the effect of this type of nose-nose breathing, it depends on how much time you do that. But let's say you go to a session and it lasts for an hour. So here is what can happen. You go into the trance state because at first the breathing is very rhythmical, and this rhythm is enhanced by the music, right? So doing this for some time, your nervous system calms down, right? So this rhythmical breathing slows down your heart rate, and it increases what is called the heart rate variability. So in simple terms, your heart beating is slow and even paced, right? And in this rhythm, it gets more relaxed and more open, and you feel safe, and your nervous system gets more relaxed, right? So as I said, you go into the state of trance. And doing this for some time, and again, the experience is enhanced by the music. So you start feeling like a greater connection with yourself, with your body, but most importantly, a connection to the others, to the collective, and to the universe itself, through feeling calm and safe and trusting and open-hearted. So in this state, the state of trance, you activate the parasympathetic branch, which is like super helpful because usually we live in this jacked up, activated state of our nervous system. And here I will make kind of a lyrical digression about it because I think that it's really important to understand the conditions in which we live. I mean, the state of the nervous system. because it is the case for so many people. It's kind of a social disease because when I studied breathwork, I read different scientific papers which said, okay, so the regular number, an average person, the number of breaths an average person takes per minute, how many do you think?
I think the average number of breaths that
Of breaths, right?
per minute, uh,
Per,
in and out including, or like just one cycle, maybe 60,
oh, no, one cycle is about 20, like breathing, like you breathe about 20 times per minute.
20 times.
Yeah, so like 17, 20 times per minute. And this type of breathing is called shallow, right? So because we breathe with the upper part of our lungs, right? And it's very fast. So interestingly, when I was in Bali and I held the sessions, and like with my co-facilitator, we asked people to measure the number of breaths they take per minute. And like imagine Bali, when everybody's super chilled, super relaxed, easygoing. So this the really slow-paced life. But guess the figure. The figure was still 20. So that brings me to the point that I believe that it's kind of a habit of our nervous system being constantly jacked up, and uh, we are activated. It's like, and even when we are eating or sleeping, we are in the sympathetic branch. So imagine that, yeah, you have a Ferrari, and the engine, right, is constantly working, and your Ferrari, hopefully it's a Ferrari, uh, goes constantly at 200 miles per hour. This is what shallow and frequent breathing means, right? How to get into the sympathetic branch? It cannot stop on its own. No, you have to pull the brakes. You have to understand how to stop yourself. Otherwise, something will happen that will stop you, right? I don't want to talk about the negative circumstance, but you know what can happen, and you will just, yes, like the universe will stop you.
So what is the average that should be of breathing per minute?
Well, if you want to deactivate again, so it all depends on the purposes. For example, we are talking now, and I am activated, and my breathing and my heart rate is pretty high, but it's for the purpose because we are talking and there is some activation, right? But if you keep on using this engine all the time, it will wear itself out, and your nervous system will wear itself out very quickly. So my recommendation, right, as a facilitator, is to stop and several times a day to question yourself. How am I breathing and how am I feeling? Am I still activated? And if yes, if you feel that your heart rate is still very high, you just slow down your breathing, you do some breath holds. And when your approach to this, to your body is conscious, you just stop and ask yourself, what's happening with me, with my body? It will already help. You will slow down. You start breathing more deeply and slower. And so how to activate the parasympathetic branch is to reduce the number of your breath up to 6 per minute.
Per minute.
Yes. So 6
So
is a good
around 10
number.
seconds for one breath.
Come again?
Around 10 seconds for one breath, right?
Yeah. Well, so getting back to to this
That's
modality, right? So basically what it does, it helps you to pull the brakes. It helps you to get into the parasympathetic nervous system, right? Uh, and yes, of course, doing this kind of breathing, nose breathing for an hour, depending on the container and depending on the facilitator and depending on the music. So there are some internal factors. It's not just the technology of breathing. So many things also come to play. Uh, this modality, because you access the subconscious mind and you can access some traumas, some past memories, and then they can come to the surface and you can have a release. You can cry, you can sob, you can, I don't know, feel like, on the verge of crying, because anyway, you slow down your brain and it gets into alpha state or even theta state, right? Which means that you shut down your neocortex, the decision maker, and you activate the subconscious mind. So this is roughly how it works. Speaking about breath work as a tool of working with trauma, and this is something that I'm super excited about, because I do not just believe that it works. I'm a proof myself. I restored my nervous system through that. It works, and it is it can be very powerful enhancer of your healing process, because usually when something happens, people go to the therapist, and the therapist works on a mind level, like it's usually a cognitive behavioral therapy. But usually therapists do not work on the level of the body. So breath work comes from the body. It activates the processes in the body and it can enhance the process. But why I'm super excited is it is a tool, and a super powerful tool, as a standalone therapeutic modality. It can be, and it can work as a replacement to the regular therapy that we all got used to. And this is actually how I came to this. So how it came into my mind, because when I did the therapy, somewhere halfway, after half a year of talking with my therapist, I asked, like, did you have someone who could work with my body? Because my that all felt so heavy on the body. But no, the answer was not there. And, the dots got connected just recently when I found this modality. So getting back to breathwork as a trauma release tool. Well, yes, usually technically it is a mouth-mouth breathing, or it can be a combination of nose-mouth, right? And it's heavier on your body because you hyperventilate, you super oxygenate it. If you take a deep breath, you already feel that this area is filled with oxygen, and imagine that you do it throughout 1 hour. It's really heavy to keep this pace, but there are loads of benefits to that if you keep on this pace. So your brain activity, as we say, that from the high beta in which we usually function, it goes super quickly into alpha and even into theta. So you get quicker into the state of trance. And so this is the altered state of mind, and you get access in the same way as I mentioned above. You get access to the subconscious, but it's just quicker. It's a quicker way of accessing your subconscious and past trauma experience. Yeah, so technically you over-oxygenate, and you lose a huge amount of carbon dioxide, CO2. That's why your vessels start, you feel these tingling sensations because they get constricted. But it's okay. But when you shut down your brain activity, as we said above, right, your psyche starts not only accessing the memories, it starts self-healing process. This is a proven fact. And when we shut down the thinking activity, we access the past memories. And what happens? They can surface, and we don't think whether it's appropriate to cry, whether it's appropriate, I don't know, to express your emotions, right? To laugh or to cry or to beat the props or I don't know, whatever you're on your mat, right? With your fists. So do whatever, because our body is super smart. And just imagine something happened to you like in the childhood, And so some of your caregivers told you it's not appropriate to cry here. It's not appropriate to say this. It's not appropriate to do this, to do that, to do that. So you shut down and you did not go through the cycle of emotions. So basically, you stored the emotion of rage or whatever surfaced, you just cut it halfway. But still, any emotion is the energy, right? So the energy that is not complete, the cycle of which is not complete, it gets stored in our body, in our tissue, in the fascia, in our cells. So we carry all the burden of all the experiences which we did not complete throughout our life. So basically, in breath work, right? So when you get to the subconscious, it can, it can bring up something from the past and you can finish the cycle of trauma, crying, shouting, laughing, whatever. So the stuck energy just gets out of your body. Of course, it's enhanced by the music. And of course, what is powerful here in this modality, when you can hold it all online, but the most powerful when you can hold it offline. Because as a facilitator, as many facilitators, of course, we know the therapeutic touch. And there are some points in the body where the stuck energy is usually stored. The psoas, the the lower part of your body, like the different places, in the shoulders, the solar plexus, the diaphragm, so lots of places where the shame, stuck energy, like different parts of your body store different emotions, right? To put it in simple terms. So when you press a little bit, when you touch those places, right? So it just makes it easier for a person to release this trauma. So this is how it works as a
That's really
standalone
great.
tool.
I think you have just tell us the best definition, and anyone can relate with these things that you have just tell us and why it is important. And you have also told us the importance of both virtual and offline, or you can say online or offline breathwork. Online can work, but it's better if you get it offline. I think we can add the links to the places in the description, like how if anyone wants to get in touch with you, or if anyone wants to do these things, they can have your link through it through the description, and they can connect with you and try these things.
Oh, yeah, sure. Absolutely. Actually, but both ways it will work. Because the facilitator can guide you through, like I'm a facilitator, it can guide you through the whole process, and I can do that offline. I mean, yeah, so in our time, yeah, you choose the facilitator who resonates with you emotionally, right? So this is how you choose a therapist. So it's the same breathwork facilitator is also the person who you can like and trust and want to work with.
It's great. I think we are also out of time right now, so it's really great and amazing experience speaking with you. Thank you so much, Irina, for your insight. And I hope more and more people will get into this thing of breath work and try to understand why it is important and why it is important to know yourself and to work on your system rather than just seeing the external beauties outside of you. So thank you so much for your insights.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this conclusion. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so the takeaway is that listen to yourself, and it will guide you. It will lead you to the right place. And of course, take care of yourself, take care of your nervous system, because it is something that really is the foundation of your life and of the quality of life of the quality life that you can of course live. Right. So thank you for inviting me for this conversation. I was super happy to be your guest today.
Thank you, Irina.